Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 803. It's always tricky to get out the 700s to the 800s. So episode 803 even, and this is being broadcasted live on youtube.com/Joseph Clough. So be free to join us there. We have a bit of a pre-community chat and a post one as well. And then we get into this content right here. And in this episode, we're talking about, can we hypnotize ourselves to success and to stop negative thinking in a very quick way? You see, I believe that you can. We said this on a few episodes back, that issues were formulated in a moment. So why can't we undo that programming in a very short period of time? Now, I would love to give away everything of my work for free from my main big program, but of course I can't, because all that is feeding and helping, supporting others. But I wanted to bring out some elements that you could apply to change your life in 30 days or less. That is my goal for you. Are you ready to have a goal in your mind to go, I'm ready to make a change in my life in the next 30 days? You've got to be decisive over it. You've got to decide that you're ready to make that change. And I don't mind if you are in anxiety, fear, worries, doubts, not being good enough, worthy, deserving, where it shows up in office, work, career, where it shows up in your relationships, your family, or your health. You get to decide today that you're ready to make a change in a way that serves you, okay? Way that serves you. So number one, of course, it is about assuming the responsibility. Do not rely on other people to change your life. Do not rely on society to change your life. Do not rely on anything other than yourself to change your life. It has to start with you. Yeah, get the right help, get the support from people, but you have to be that instigator of change. You've got to be the one that goes, I am ready to do whatever it takes. I'm ready to be decisive. I'm ready to be resourceful. Even if you don't have all the resources, you have the resourcefulness, the adaptability, the flexibility to go, I'm ready to make the change in my life, and I refuse to allow my past to dictate my present and my future. I'm ready to do whatever it takes, because when you have that, it means dedication. You've got to be more dedicated, so much more dedicated to changing. Otherwise, it just means you're more dedicated to staying the same. And that is the harsh truth, right? If we're not dedicated to make the changes in our life, to put the right time in, the right execution in, the right thoughts in, the right level of time, you will be more, therefore, if you're not doing that, more dedicated to staying the same. That's where we become the effect of life. That's when we have reasons that justify our circumstance. And although those reasons may make us feel temporary good because it justifies that, oh my goodness, this is why I am like I am, in the long term, that pain is not worth it. Staying the same in pain is not worth it, in my opinion. I speak to so many people over the years, and they wish that they started yesterday. They wish they started a month ago, a year ago. Some people who have just been having decades of their issues, and they just wish they took the responsibility. So let's learn from that. Let's decide that we're going to go all in on our transformation. Now, if we're going to change our life in 30 days or less, in my opinion, you've got to do certain things other than taking responsibility for your life. I mean, that is huge. That is the big aspect. That's the most important thing, because it's the driving force, right? That's the first step, to assume responsibility for who you are and where you're heading. And once, I didn't really say this, but I've said this before, it's not meaning that other people let go of the hook. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It means that you're taking back the power by assuming responsibility. So if we're now going into the realm of absolute responsibility for who we are and where we're heading, well, what happens next? Well, in my opinion, you've got to start out your day the way that you want it to be. So when people in my program, as an example, so you have an idea, I create specially designed morning sessions. And these morning sessions I call Create Your Day. So ultimately, we're getting the unconscious mind to realize there's another way of being. Because if you think about what you presently do, just think about it. It's not going to be for everyone, but I'm speaking to everyone who's listening to this, and everyone's unique and does things differently. But most of the time, we can go ahead, wake up in the morning, and automatically just go onto our phone. And therefore, we're immersed in the social media, the news. We're so concerned about the external noise before we've quietened the inner mind to go, what is my priority today? What do I want to achieve? Who do I want to be today? How do I want to show up for my family? How do I want to show up for my clients or my customers or my employers? Like, if we immediately go to technology, you are disengaged with yourself, and therefore you become programmed by that noise. Because if you think of that noise, what is it really? And there's a lot of things wrong with social media, but there's a lot of good things. But what is that noise ultimately? I would probably say, simply, it's opinions. Whether it be the news, opinions. There are so many opinions out there from the videos we consume, including this one. This is just my opinion, and you get to decipher and choose if it resonates or not. But if we wake up in the morning and we're in this kind of slow state of engaging into life, and then suddenly you're thrown into the noise and all the opinions, you don't know who you are. You spend more time invested in the noise, in other words, in other people's lives, and some places or people you've never even met for a long, long time. Maybe your old school friends, and you're just consumed about what they're doing to go on vacation that year, when you haven't actually really spoken to them. Like, it's weird, right? We get so immersed into other noise, and I'm summarizing it as noise or opinion, before we even take care of our internal noise or our own opinion. So for me, if you're going to make that change in the next 30 days or less, you've got to set up your day correctly. You don't start at midday, you don't start in the evening or before you go to sleep. You start as soon as you get up. Now, my program, we have, like I said, these Create Your Day specialized, customized audios. But what can you do instead? Because you can't have that from me. That's for those in my program, because I can't do that for everyone once again. But what you can do is go there in the mind. You can take time to spend 5-10 minutes, and it might be hard in the beginning because you are doing it by yourself, and therefore you are having to get out your own way, in a way, or out of your own issues to be able to focus. But if I were to give you my advice, as soon as you wake up, take 5 to 10 minutes without that noise and think about what you want to be this day. How do you want to show up? And if you go there in the mind, in other words, if you can hallucinate, and it could be visual hallucinations, it could be auditory, as in the sounds that you feel, or kinesthetic, which is the feelings, or even gustatory, which is like our taste, and olfactory, our smell. Like, if you can hallucinate to the best of your ability, going throughout your day in a dissociated way, to make it even more impactful, by the way, is seeing and observing yourself have your day the way you like it to be. When you do that, you are actually pre-teaching the unconscious mind the strategy of how you want to be. Because it finds it very hard to distinguish between what is imagined and what is true. It does find it very hard, and that's why you can watch a movie and be so immersed that you feel anxiety or sadness. You're so engaged with it. You can, if you watch sports, you can have your heart racing because you're so in it. You can even do the physical movements of trying to do something because you're in that moment. So we know we're not the person on the field or whatever the sport is. We know that we're not in that movie, but it's almost as if we engage as if we are within it, because your unconscious mind cannot tell the difference between fully and completely what is imagined and what is real. Think about it. If you want another example, what is anxiety? Well, anxiety is focusing on all the things you don't want to happen. So you're creating those visualizations, thoughts, feelings, and ideas about what could happen. And guess what happens? You then feel anxiety. Did it happen? No, it's a hallucination. That's what anxiety is. Hallucinating scenarios and possibilities to the negative conclusion. So what if we reverse that process? Reverse the anxiety. Make it positive thinking. Spending time in the morning to focus your attention and intention in what you want to become and who and how you want to be in that day. Now, the other thing that I love to do is get into gratitude. You see, gratitude is a game changer. Now, the way that I do gratitude is very, very quick and simple. We've talked about it previously, so you have to dive back into that. But ultimately, having gratitude for what you have. Easiest gateway to gratitude. You're laying in bed. I'm really nice and protected, right? That's the thing that you have. It could be other things. It could be materialistic things, absolutely anything like that. Then you want to be able to have a gratitude for who you are. And that's when you begin to focus on your qualities. Because usually we focus on all the bad things. Oh my goodness, what if I fail? What if I get hurt? What if I trip up? What if I'm a failure? What if people are going to think of me? What happened when I was in 10 years ago and I tripped over in front of everyone? That's still playing on my mind. I was so stupid back then. Like, you got to get out of that and go, what am I grateful about myself today? Have I been a good friend? Have I been a good partner? Have I been a good child to my parents or a father or a mother, a brother, a pet owner? Like, think of the qualities that you have, even to people like strangers. Maybe you've contributed to something. These are qualities that we should not ignore. Get into that attitude of gratitude for not just what you have, but who you are as a way of being in this world. Immediately, it will make you feel lighter. Immediately. Then the last step is to be grateful, a bit like creating your day in your mind, which is being grateful for the good things coming your way in known and unknown ways, in seen and unseen ways. I love doing that because I don't really like surprises in life, but I do like being surprised by good things happening, like unexpected things which are just serving me and helping me on my life path and doing all the things that I do. Like, I don't know how, but I'm curious to find out what could happen today, which will show me that something is listening, or the world or my unconscious mind, to create something special. So I really go into the gratitude for what I have, who I am, and what is coming my way. And then recently, in the past probably 3 months, I've just been always in my conversations to myself. Yeah, we talk to ourselves. I've just been changing my words to I get to live. I get to love. I get to be a pet parent. I get to go running like I did today. I get to breathe in the oxygen to fuel my physical well-being. I get to go to work. I get to do all these things. Usually we go, I need to, have to, got to. And those are needs of necessity. That's something that's like a demand. And even if it is a demand, by simply changing it to I get to go, when I say go to work for myself, I love my work. Like, it's all positive, mostly positive. There's lots of things that growing a business, help more people, has its challenging times. But on the whole, I get to go to work and I feel great about it. So even if you dislike, say, your work, or like going shopping, food shopping, you get to go food shopping. Not everyone does. Not everyone has a job. So changing that frame of reference will allow you to go, I get to live today. I get to show up in a way that I never thought, because I'm being conscious of my thoughts. I'm not allowing my unconscious mind to go down this rabbit hole of anxiety, fear, doubt. I want to set an intention for myself where I can be surprised that I get to do all these things. So if we just backtrack for a moment, we've got to take that responsibility. We've also got to get out the noise, stop the noise, get out the social media, do it later if you need to check in. If you want to be on these live streams, if you want to listen to other videos online or meet connections on Facebook, Twitter, and all those Instagrams and all the other crazy ones we go through, that is fine, but don't engage it right in the morning. It is madness to do that. It's not going to be supportive, not to your well-being, but your neurology is going to be in a state of sometimes shock, sometimes kind of too stimulated. Let's just call it too stimulated. And that's not going to be helpful in the morning, because usually those stimulations aren't designed to be productive for your well-being. It's just other people's opinions on life and news and all the society expectations. So we've got to quit that. Visit it later. I always love the analogy on that one. It's like you're walking and suddenly, or you've just woken up and you're walking, you suddenly put on those carousels as a kid, like little playgrounds that go faster and faster and faster and faster. It's impossible to enter that experience without easing yourself into your day. So that's where we go and create our day, and we get the gratitude. We get into the mindset, I get to change. I set the intention for my day. And now, because I've let go of my issue of not being good enough, worthy, or deserving, that's been and gone. I know how to let that go, and it just does not exist in my world whatsoever. I'm very congruent with that. But let's just say you have a limiting belief. Let's say you have that fear of failure, the fear of not being enough, or the imposter syndrome, a lot of the topics that I solve, right? That's my goal to solve. Well, if that's the case, you want to make sure that you're spending adequate time in letting it go. Now, say for example, in my program, it takes a few hours per week for 8 weeks, and we're free of the problem. So it's really, really strategic in how we do it. But let's just say for someone else who hasn't got the right help or support, like an expert who's spent all the time researching this and investing in themselves to understand the nature. Let's just say you're doing it by yourself. Well, let's think, well, how much time can you put into your transformation, in discovering the hidden root cause of your issue, and then implementing a plan, where it be like through hypnosis, right? Because I think hypnosis is a game changer, as you know. That's why I have the hypnosis app and all the free hypnosis sessions that we do. So I know that it's true. So what can you do each and every day to be able to deepen working on that? Well, hypnosis is going to be a great plan. So if you're not doing it every night as you go to sleep, if you're not doing it sometimes throughout the day if you need to, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it takes time. One of the questions I get is, well, how long do I have to listen to a hypnosis session for? And some people said, I listened to it for 2 days and it didn't really work that much. I was like, 2 days? You've had this problem for decades and we haven't even got to day 3 yet? Keep the consistency. Your unconscious mind needs time to reprogram itself, not just through thoughts, but through the neurological pathways, the neurosynaptic gaps where information passes, the neuroplasticity, all that stuff. It takes time. It's biology too. Yeah, you can let go of decades of pain in a short period of time. Like mine is 8 weeks to let it all go. For others, it can be different, can be longer, but don't stop doing hypnosis after 2 days. Do your best to find the root cause and then go, do you know what? Every night I'm going to listen to it as I go to sleep, or maybe in the day. Or on top of that, I'm going to spend 1 hour of my week to focus on myself. You see, as people have the issues that I talk about, not being good enough and worthy, they become people pleasers. They become people who don't want to upset people. They take on more responsibility. They do more for other people than they'd ever think about doing for themselves, because they don't feel worthy of that. Well, if you're going to make a change, you need to prioritize, whether you like it or not, 60 minutes every single week at a bare minimum, if you're not getting expert help. Like this, if you're doing it by yourself, you may want more than that. But a bare minimum of that 1 unit of time to do the deep work, to do the deep work which you haven't been wanting to be doing, where you're looking in the mirror and going, is this who I really want to be? Do I want to pass that story down to my children and their children and their children? So it just becomes this family story that gets passed down for those generations. Whether we have children or not, it doesn't matter. Do we want to live out the rest of our life in that pain of staying the same? Of course not. Well, I hope not. So we've got to level up and go, well, if I'm not prepared to spend every hour for the rest of my life, or even if you didn't experience it every hour, but you probably experienced it 3 or 4 times per week, and it could be a few hours per week, bare minimum, because it's happening beneath the surface too. Well, if you're investing time in keeping the issue by living within the issue, then you have more than enough time to focus on yourself, that 1 hour, that 1 unit of time to go all in. Here's the thing. I don't care how long. Yes, you can make changes in 30 days or less. But for me, even if it was a year, even doing 1 hour every single day for a year, and I had no option, no help, no ability to invest in myself. Like, I didn't want to get a credit card to pay someone for their advice. If that was like my option, but I had no will to get financing, well, I'm going to invest a day, every day, half hour every day, an hour every day. If it took for a whole year, because I know I've spent this pain that I've had for all the years before me. And I don't want to keep that pain for all the future years ahead of me, because life is the longest thing we'll ever do, but it's getting shorter by the day, by the moment. So I'm not prepared to invest that few hours per week in my pain. I'm going to put an hour at least per week, or I'm going to get my morning routine ready so I can take on the day. I'm going to look after myself. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So just to give you a quick recap of, if you want to make some quick leaps and changes, number 1, assume responsibility. Number 2, get into, like, I don't know if you ever heard it, like a miracle morning routine. I have my own version within my program, but at the very least, the thumbnail aspect, the thumbnail view would be, I'm spending 10 minutes hallucinating how I want my day to go, not how I don't want it to go, but how do I want to participate in life? How do I want to live in life? How do I want to communicate? How do I want to be abundant in health, relationship, career, and in finances? Like, I want to be going there before I engage in any noise. Even if we are in a relationship, ideally, focus on yourself first and then engage. Because then you are being of service to that person, because you are showing up, being the person that you want to be. And then, of course, as we said, we've got the assumption of responsibility. We've got the gratitude for what you have, who you are, and what is coming your way. And getting into the mindset of, I get to live today. I get to breathe today. I get to go shopping. I get to work out. I get to go to work. I get to go to bed later today where I'm actually in a secure place, because not everyone does. So yeah, our issues can be very painful, but if we get to focus on what is good, then we're pre-teaching the unconscious mind to seek out things which are similar to that. That is why anxiety spirals out of control. But if you get to have the gratitude and you get to live, it will look for everything which is similar to that in the nature of its energy. Whatever you think, you become. Whatever you surround yourself, you assume. Where it be food, where it be people. I know we say you're the sum of the 5 closest people around you. I'm going to say everything. You are the sum of your environment. Even in the environments of consumption that you're not there, as in the social media. So if you start to narrow down what is of value, is it lifting you up? Is it supporting you? Is it causing you to grow? Now, for example, if you start out your day on your work commute, for example, and you're listening to a positive podcast, then of course that is lifting you up and growing you. But if it's not, I'd probably cut it out for a while. I mean, even music, that's great if it lifts you up. It changes the resonance of your being, the frequency, because sound is just energy waves and you are literally energy anyway. So that's why we get those good feelings when the good music comes on. But ingest the good noise, the noise is going to lift you up. And as I said, set your intention. Spend at least 1 unit of time, 1 hour of time every single week, at least, to your personal development for the next 30 days. That's just 4 hours in the next 30 days. If you can increase that, if you can spend maybe a couple hours a week, you will change everything about your life. You will be hypnotizing yourself to success because you're adding the evidence, the feelings, the thoughts, the outcome, because after all, your conscious mind is the goal setter, your unconscious mind is the goal getter. So if we want our unconscious mind to get something, we've got to set the right outcome. And that is why we focus on what we want and not what we don't want. So that's the kind of mindset we really need to get into. And like I said, do the work. Do the work. Because you're doing work anyway. Unfortunately, it's just focused on all the fear, the doubt, the worry, the scarcity, the dread, the fear of this, fear of that, fear of yourself, fear of others, fear of the world. You're doing that anyway, so you may as well use that time and energy and put it to something productive. Because after all, when you change, you don't just change. Everyone in your environment changes. Those loved ones of yours, those people you've never met yet because you're building yourself up for when you do meet them, to those that you work with. The ripples go far and wide. So I think it's our duty, our birthright, to put the right adequate time in our development, to make the change that we desire. It is possible, and I know we don't always feel like it's possible. I know that we feel broken. I know that we feel unfixable, but I promise you, I felt that way once too. I thought my life would never change. I thought I'd always be anxious, always blushing, always self-conscious, and never able to reach for success that I wanted. And then I found the solution to my problem. And that's why I'm so dedicated to try to help as many people through my free work, from my fully customized program. Like, I'm willing to do the work. I was just saying to someone this morning, actually they were saying to me as well, that I don't ever see myself retiring. I might slow down, but I love this. I want to support people as much as possible. And that to me is a meaningful life, and that means I get to live. That means I get excited. So let's add a little bonus one there. What is the purpose of our day? What is the purpose that we want to bring into our day? If you go, I haven't got a purpose, Joe. Well, no, if you haven't got one, good. You get to choose one. Maybe you get to create your own purpose. Make it good for self, good to others, and good for the world. That's when things get really interesting, when it's not about you, it's about other people, because that's a driving force, the energy force, the life force that goes, this is why we need to do it. It's not just about me anymore. There's something bigger than me. So I hope you got value from this. And of course, look, you can do this all by yourself, implement that by yourself. But if you feel it's a struggle, or you need someone who's invested in themselves to educate themselves to be able to then help other people like myself, you can apply to go on my program. Now, it's not a free program. It is fully customized to your needs. We only work with a few people. Like, there's a real small group of people that we work with. So it is fully customized to your needs. You get plugged in to our community. You get plugged in to my team members, so we can support you in every single way and meet the issue where it lives, the unconscious, to let go of that hidden core issue. Not the symptoms. They'll take care of themselves once you let go of the hidden root cause. You can go to josephclough.info/talk. Now, when you go there, you'll book a time to speak with us. You'll fill out an application. We need to know information. And then you'll attend a one-to-one Zoom call with us. And when you do that, we'll get clear on exactly where you are, like what you want to let go of, exactly what you want to achieve, and get clear of what's stopping you. And then we'll come up with the steps to solve it with you. Otherwise, You can try and solve it by yourself and all those things, but we'll come up with a strategy to be able to make that a reality for you within 8 weeks. And that means we get to shine together, thrive together in every single way. So you got to be invested. We can't just be the only ones invested. You got to go all in, be decisive, be resourceful, and to choose what I always say, to choose over fear and to decide on what is right. Even if you don't believe in yourself, you have to decide on what is right for you. And I believe it's your birthright to know that you are loved, that you're worthy, deserving, and enough. Because when you do, life can be very, very beautiful. Just like you, in my opinion. You might not believe me, but I honestly do have so much love for you all that listen to my work, and I'm greatly appreciative of you in every single way. So with that, I'm going to speak to everyone on the live stream, but for everyone listening to the app, if you ever get the chance to review it, I'd be greatly appreciated so we can help more people in the world. Your reviews make the difference, because otherwise, if there's not many reviews, they just don't download it. So your set of words makes the difference, can make a huge life change for other people who are about to download the app, and they get to use all the 803 free episodes. 803. And I'm not stopping. So if you ever get a chance to leave a review, I'll be very, very grateful. With that, I'll speak to you on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.